Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Deer Corner. Glad to see you're with me. I got an email and how do I choose a stand to go hunt out of my stands I have? Or how do I make a decision on what stand to go to in the morning? And there's several key things I look at before I make a decision on what stand to hunt. And one of the major key things is wind. Now, I'm not talking about wind for scent, for your scent. I'm not talking that. If I like to hunt a windy area or a wind area no more than maybe 2 miles an hour, possibly 3. I don't like the whipping of the trees and the shrubbery blowing and moving. So on top of the hills or on the side of the ridges where the wind's blowing and the trees are moving, that is one of the key defenses for deer, is movement. And they don't like it to be in a heavy windy area where the wind's moving and the trees are moving, shrubbery's moving. And they'll move down into the lower areas here to where it's quieter. And I do the same thing. But like this morning, it's calm, may have a breeze every now and then. I'll hunt the tops of the hills and the ridges. But if it gets to where it's windy, and I'll move down into the bottom. But that's one thing I look at, is the wind. Another key thing I look at is dew, the dew factor. Humidity. Now, in a heavy dew factor or heavy humidity, like this morning it's 82%, sound moves slower and not as far in a moist area, moist air, you could say. And it don't move as quick and it don't move as far. Therefore the deer can't hear you at a distance quite as they can hear you in drier air. And there again, getting to your stand and out of your stand without making sound, and especially coming up with the leaves falling on the ground, a heavy dew, a heavy moisture, high humidity, keep them leaves from being crunchy. So you can walk in quieter and walk out quieter. So I look at that factor too, and that comes along with your wind. And another factor I look at is weather. Now I'll hunt rain, sleet, snow, it don't matter to me, I'll hunt it. I do not like hunting ice storm, sleet. But I hunt it anyway. One of the problems I have is when ice builds up on trees, limbs cracking, trees falling, and that makes a very difficult hunt during ice, snow, and rain. Now that's getting to the stand and out of the stand in that weather. Now I'll hunt it, but that is a factor. And another key, the major key factor I use in selecting a stand, is the count of does, how many does I see in that area. Now, the more does I see in that area, the more odds I'm going to have of seeing a buck following a doe. Now, there again, I can have a camera out and I'm seeing them does on that camera at night. Now, I want to be before them or after them where that camera is setting so I can hunt them during the daylight. Now, a buck don't wait till the sun comes up to go follow a doe. That buck's going to follow that doe at night. So if you're getting them does on that camera at night and not during the day, you need to move to where you can get to them does either that evening or that next morning where they're coming through. But that area there where they're coming through at night, that buck's not going to wait for the sun to come up to follow that doe through. And on top of that, the does will change their habit. Now, right now, they're all over the woods. They're everywhere. But as the feed source starts slowing down, they're going to start moving to areas that they can feed. So certain areas that they're in now, they will not be. So you got to keep track of your does and where you're seeing your does. And those are just 4 key things I use on what stand I go to in the morning and where I hunt all day. I don't go from stand to stand. I go to one stand and I stay in it all day long. And I hope it helps you out some. Glad you're with me. And hope to see you soon. Deer season's coming up and I'm going to bring you along. And when you're in the woods, be safe.